Welcome everyone, here lies the 2023 Red Sox postseason odds. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. The Houston Astros officially swept the Boston Red Sox in a 3-game series at Fenway Park. This officially puts the Boston Red Sox at 69-65 on the season, 4 games out of 3rd place in this division, and most importantly, in the topic of this video, the Boston Red Sox are now 6.5 games back of a wild card spot. Effectively, this series officially ended the Red Sox 2023 postseason hopes. They are now at just a 5% chance of making the postseason according to Fangraphs, and even lower according to Baseball Reference. So what we're going to do in today's video is we're going to break down this latest Red Sox series. We're going to talk about why this series effectively ended the 2023 season for the Boston Red Sox. We're also going to be talking about what went wrong and why it was sort of a representation of what's been going on with the Red Sox this entire year. But before we get into that, the weather is getting colder, fall is right around the corner, and to get you ready for another Red Sox list MLB postseason, apple pickings, and eating everything pumpkin related, we are releasing all new Red Seat Radio merch. We got everything you need to stay warm during the fall months, including Red Seat joggers, Red Seat sweaters and hoodies, Red Seat beanies, even have Red Seat coffee mugs to keep your coffee warm during the cold months of September, October, November. So if you're interested in getting some Red Seat merch to rock during the fall weather, click the link in the description below to get started. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. To be completely honest with you, there really isn't a lot of good to go over in this series, but there is one man who had a really positive series that we need to talk about, and that man is Adam Duvall, who continues to be one of the hottest hitters on planet Earth right now. He had another 2 home runs in this series and a double in the game where he didn't put one out. Over his last 10 games, Adam Duvall is hitting .462 with a .512 on base percentage and a 1.154 slug. That's slug, not OPS. That is absolutely incredible. With the Red Sox falling out of contention, how the Red Sox play their outfield the rest of the year is going to be really interesting in terms of how they handle the outfield situation over the offseason. So one thing to pay attention to as the Red Sox wind their season down is Adam Duvall, how he plays himself into possibly being a guy for the Red Sox to re-sign as we get closer to free agency. Another guy who still had a pretty decent series despite the outcome was Tristan Casas. He had a hit in every single game. He also had a double in 2 out of 3 games, 4 walks in the series, and a game where he went 3 for 4. His development has been one of the most crucial parts of 2023, and he's really cemented himself as a future stud in this Red Sox lineup. Another guy that we need to focus on positively in this series is Ceddanne Rafaela, who made his Major League debut in this series. He got his first Major League hit. He also got his first Major League double, a rope off the monster, which also resulted in his first RBI. And I gotta say, this is extremely early, and obviously Ceddanne has a lot of work to do at the Major League level, but his swing looks awesome so far from what we've seen, right? It's simple, it's clean, and it looks like it could play at the Major League level. But again, it's a super small sample size. Another guy to focus on here as you watch the rest of the 2023 season. But outside of those guys, there really was not a lot of good performances to talk about. There were a lot of missed opportunities in this series. There were a lot of opportunities for the Red Sox to score runs that they just didn't capitalize on. And that's really truly been the motto of the Red Sox throughout the 2023 season, right? We talked about this almost every single series recap over the course of the 2023 campaign so far, and it has been the theme of missed opportunities, specifically with this offense, right? It's been a true roller coaster to watch the Red Sox offensively this season. When they've been good, they've been one of the best in all of baseball. When they've been bad, they have been hair-pulling, awful, terrible, bad, right? There hasn't really been a sort of middle ground with this Red Sox offense the entire year. Now, it averaged out to a top 5 offense in Major League Baseball in terms of OPS, so that's a good thing to keep in mind. But in general, the theme of this Red Sox offense, it felt like this year was missed opportunities, right? A lack of timely hitting, a lack of being able to drive in runs when you need to drive in runs, felt like it was sort of the death of this 2023 team. Now, what we've been saying this entire season is that the Red Sox have lived and died by their offense, right? Because when they're doing well, they're really doing well, and when they're doing poorly, they're really doing poorly. And it seems pretty appropriate that in this series, the final nail in the coffin for the Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox offense doesn't have a lot of highlights to show, right? That's just sort of how this Red Sox team has operated throughout the entirety of 2023. But at the same time, too, it's hard to be entirely disappointed about the Red Sox offense this year. Because they've had such high highs, it makes me a little bit excited for what 2024 could look like. And on top of that, too, in terms of the offense with the Boston Red Sox this year, before the final nail was settled into their coffin, it really looked like there were some real developments within the Red Sox offense that could play in years to come, right? Specifically, guys who are going to be here for a while. What Tristan Casas has been able to do this year has been incredible. Getting Rafael Devers in a 10-year deal and having him do what he's doing despite struggling a little bit at the plate this year was really good. Masataka Yoshida's development throughout 2023 was great, even though he's in a bit of a slump right now. And even though Jarren Duran's out for the rest of the season, he was a great development as well. There were really key pieces of this Red Sox offense that made really great strides this year. And so to me, when we're talking about the Red Sox offense, I'm more so disappointed in the series. I'm not as disappointed in the entire season as some people may think. The pitching, on the other hand, that's a different story. While the Red Sox offense may not have had a ton of highlights in this series, I really think the reason the Red Sox ended up getting swept in this series had everything to do with their pitching staff. Chris Sale got the ball in game 1, and he made it through 4 2/3 innings, allowing 3 earned runs on 7 hits while striking out 6. It really wasn't a bad outing from Chris Sale. The problem with Sale's start, and really the rotation as a whole this entire year, is that he had 92 pitches in the 5th. There were simply too many times this season that a Red Sox starter did exactly what Chris Sale did in this start. He only made it a couple of innings, and he didn't give the bullpen a true chance of locking this series down. And to me, that makes it really hard for the Red Sox to stay competitive the entire year when your pitching staff simply can't make it deep into games. And Chris Sale's start in this series was a prime example of what we're talking about. Brian Bayo got the ball in game 2, and he had a really similar start to Chris Sale. It didn't look bad on paper. He went 4 2/3 innings, allowing 2 earned runs on 2 solo shots and 4 hits while striking out 2. But again, he didn't make it deep into games. He was above 85 pitches in the 5th inning. He had to get taken out because the matchup didn't look good, right? He just simply could not make it deep into games, and it ended up kind of blowing up your season a little bit. Now, in terms of Brian Bayo, this is one thing to focus on as we move forward through the rest of the 2023 campaign, how he continues to make adjustments to the league, figuring out that, hey, if we just sit on his slider or cutter, we can crush it, especially for a lefty. So that's something to pay attention to as we move forward here, what Brian Bayo's development looks like through the rest of 2023. The final game got Cutter Crawford, and he flat out sucked. He ended up only going 2 2/3 innings. He allowed a staggering 6 runs on 7 hits, and he only struck out 1 batter. This was absolutely brutal to watch, but I think at this point, having lost the first 2 games of this series, it honestly didn't even matter at that point, right? The season was over already, and Cutter Crawford coming out and laying an egg kind of felt fitting to how the Red Sox were going to end this 2023 season. I still think Cutter could be a really effective back of the rotation type arm, and again, another guy I'm excited to watch go through the rest of the 2023 season and continue to see how he develops in this starting rotation. Now, in terms of the bullpen, oh boy, did they have a series, right? The big story here with the bullpen was Kyle Barraclough's outing in the first game of the series. He came in with a 1-run lead and ended up giving up promptly 10 earned runs over 4 1/3 innings on 11 hits. He walked 5 batters. It was an absolutely brutal outing for Kyle Barraclough. He was sent down immediately after this outing, and it just flat out didn't look good. Now, I know there was a lot of contention with this decision from Alex Cora to leave Kyle Barraclough in, and I gotta be honest with you, I don't agree with Kyle Barraclough staying in as long as he did. I don't agree with the fact that he was even in there in the first place, but that doesn't mean I don't understand the decision why it was made. And there's a difference between the two, right? I don't agree with it, but at the same time too, Alex Cora after the game quite essentially said that his medical staff told him that, look, tonight you've got Chris Sale, you've got Kyle Barraclough, and you've got Kenley Jansen, who are approved to pitch in this game. Everyone else, if you throw them in this game, you are risking injury throughout the rest of the season, and Alex Cora, being the player's coach that he is not going to risk injury with anyone in this bullpen. But again, if you had won this first game, this series could have gone a little bit differently, and we could be having a completely different video right now, and it just sucks that it happened when it happened. But again, it all comes back to the rotation and not being able to go deep into games. It comes back to the rotation only having 2.5 pitchers, starting pitchers at one point this season, right? That's going to end up wearing down your bullpen. These middle inning guys are gassed, right? Chris Murphy hit a wall. Nick Pivetta hit a wall. You're throwing guys like Kyle Barraclough and Joe Jakes into the middle of really important games, not because Alex Cora wants to send a message, not because Alex Cora gave up on this team, but because you flat out did not get enough from your rotation this season. And going into the offseason, if your rotation is not the priority number one and you are not securing this rotation, something's wrong with this front office. And so to me, the most important part of this series and the biggest focus of the Boston Red Sox right now is how you improve this rotation, how you bring it from being one of the worst in baseball in terms of health and in terms of innings pitched, and bring it into something that's a little bit more consistent, that can give you a little bit longer innings. Because at the end of the day, right, we talk about it all the time. The offense, you live or die by this offense, but to be a truly successful team in Major League Baseball, you need to survive on your pitching. Pitching needs to be priority number one going forward, and if it's not, we got a real big problem. It has been an absolute crap show this season with what's gone on in the rotation and how the bullpen's been used because of what's happening in the rotation. Again, Alex Cora is not a perfect manager and he has made mistakes this year, but to blame this bullpen and to blame this pitching staff on Alex Cora just simply is not enough. It's a lazy take, and at the end of the day, this comes down to the fact that the Red Sox rotation could not get the job done in 2023, and you're seeing the effects of that right now. So when we're talking about the effects of this series on the 2023 season, like we've been talking about this whole video, this series effectively ended the 2023 Red Sox, right? They're essentially completely out of playoff contention. Cutter Crawford put it perfectly. It was a kick in the gut, and to be honest with you, I thought I was going to be more angry with this team than I actually am. To be honest with you, I'm not really that angry at all. I'm just disappointed because from the beginning of this year, since April, we've talked about three things with this Red Sox team, right? A poor starting rotation performance, errors on the field, and a lack of timely hitting. And the problem I have with this Red Sox team is the fact that we're in September right now, essentially, right? We're in the last day of August, and we're still talking about those problems. And the reason we're talking about the death of the 2023 Red Sox right now is because of those issues. Now, you could blame whoever you want, but at the end of the day, the players on this field needed to come out and they needed to change the way that they were playing baseball, right? You needed to get better defensively, you needed to have more timely hitting, and you simply needed to go deeper into games, and you just simply could not do that. To me, the biggest problem with the Boston Red Sox lies on the field and the field alone, right? Because of the fact that these players simply could not figure out how to improve their defense, how to get further into games, and how to produce more timely hitting. We're sitting here for the second year in a row talking about non-competitive games in September. Now, again, I think that 2022 and 2023 are completely different, because at this point in 2022, you were wondering what the direction of the Boston Red Sox is going to look like, right? We knew that there was some interesting pieces in the farm, but we didn't entirely know where the Red Sox were supposed to go from being what they were in 2022. 2023, you see the core, you see the building blocks start to develop, right? The Tristan Casas, the Yoshidas, the Durans, the Bayos, the Crawfords, the Houks, right? You see the sort of starting point as to where you go from here, and that to me is the most exciting part of 2023 at this point. The fact that in 2024 and 2025, you now have the opportunity to build off those guys, but again, I'm just flat out disappointed. I'm frustrated that for the second year in a row, you are not playing competitive games in September, because at the end of the day, that's all we really wanted, right? I said at the beginning of the year that I don't know if this team is going to make a playoffs. I would love for them to make the playoffs, and I think they could have made the playoffs, but all I wanted was this team to be competitive and making it interesting in September. And this series, and really this last week against the Astros, the Dodgers, and the Astros, while difficult, really did kind of put an end to the 2023 season, and it sucks because for the second year in a row, I'm gonna have to sit here and I'm gonna have to prove to you guys that you should still be watching the Red Sox, which is something that my job shouldn't entail, right? My job should just be to be celebrating this team, analyzing this team, talking about this team. Instead, we are gonna be sitting here in September and then in October talking about what went wrong, talking about how to fix it, and talking about which jobs people are securing and which jobs jobs are on the hot seat, right? We shouldn't be talking about that. I'm getting mad just sitting here talking about it, but overall, again, I'm not entirely mad about this 2023 season. I think a lot of people had really low expectations for the Boston Red Sox, and the fact that they are going to hopefully finish this season with an above 500 record, in my opinion, is a win compared to what the expectations were at the beginning of the year. But either way, this was the final nail in the coffin for me, and it's official. The Boston Red Sox are not going to make the postseason, bearing a 20-game win streak or something insane like that. So either way, let me know what you think of this 2023 season. Let me know what you thought of the good. Let me know what you thought of the bad. Let me know what you think of the Red Sox going in and getting swept by the Houston Astros to effectively end their 2023 campaign. Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below on the latest Red Sox series. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Also, don't forget, new merch in the description of this video. Take a look at it. Get yourself ready for fall. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.